morning, everybody. It's the middle of June, so of course it's very cold. But that doesn't matter because I'm going to be doing something quite exciting. I'm at the Toronto Pearson airport and I'm going to get to drive the Genesis G70 on an airport runway, an active airport runway nonetheless. This will be a very exciting day.
Welcome to our first ever GTAA runway event. As I alluded to when I met you outside, bit unorthodox, not really a media event. This is a customer event, and over the next couple of minutes, we're going to try and explain to you why we're here, because I know it's a little weird to say, yeah, we're going out on an international airport's runway during flight ops, but we are, and there's a good reason for it. It's not just because we asked nicely. There's a broader story to it, and I promise you it all comes back to, ultimately who your audience is, which is the car buying public. So there's a method to our madness, as it were. We've put this little preview in. We have our guinea pigs, our first test track drivers here this morning. No one else other than our instructors have gone out and driven the course yet, including me. I haven't even been out there to see it yet. So we really are going to be the first ones out there. Have me. You all know me, unfortunately, for better or worse. Patrick Danielson. I'm the manager of product strategy, public relations, events, and auto shows for Genesis. And the other face in the room is Jared. This is Jared. Wave to him. He's in a high visibility vest. You can't miss him. We normally have a bell around his neck too, but I thought we could do without it for today. Jared has been on my team now for the better part of 3 years, but as of Thursday, he is now officially also working in public relations. So Jared is now your new main contact for Genesis Public Relations here in Canada. So reminder that Genesis doesn't operate using a standard automotive business model. We are the only car company in North America that operates with a direct sales model through what we actually call an agency model. So whereas everybody else has franchise dealerships, we have agency distributors, and there's a fundamental distinction between the two. We are, both of our retailers are independently owned and operated, but whereas standard franchise dealerships buy cars from the OEM at wholesale and then resell them to customers where they're free to play with the pricing in a variety of fun and interesting ways, our customers buy cars directly from Genesis Motors Canada. And because the customers are buying the cars directly from us and our retailers are acting as agents on our behalf, they cannot alter the price, they cannot sell any accessories or F&I products that are not approved on our website, and they cannot do really anything that alters the nature of the transaction. And what that ultimately means is our customers are able to buy a car completely online for one clear, easy to understand, and transparent price. So that's kind of the summary. We started with this one price selling model, selling cars at home and online, and we are now building out our network of showrooms. So it started a couple of years ago with showrooms in downtown Toronto. Many of you have maybe seen our showroom at Square One Mall in Mississauga. But more importantly, over the course of the next 3 years, we are also going to transition to a full standalone network of traditional automotive showrooms. So each and every one of our retailers will be able to give you the full gamut of choices, online, at home, or in store, or any combination thereof throughout the purchase and ownership process. So this is a rendering of what the first Genesis distributors will actually look like in Canada. In fact, if you were to go to London, Ontario today, you're going to see a brand new building right next to Finch Hyundai. So on the property adjacent to it, in a separate building, there's one that's currently under construction. It will open in the next few months, and it will be the first Genesis showroom outside of Korea, the first one globally. That speaks to how far we've come with Genesis in Canada, and it will follow with all of them over the course of the next 3 years. We currently have 20 distributors in Canada, and by the end of next year, we should be up to 30 distributors across Canada, and then by 2022, all 30 of them have their own showroom. Here's kind of an overhead plan view of what it looks like. It's not as big as your traditional automotive showroom, and that's in recognition of the fact that many of our customers will buy cars online and at home. So we've right-sized the facility so that it acts more as a gallery, a way to come in and see the product in a comfortable environment with no sales pressure, and if you want, then proceed to have the transaction online or at home. And there's also a service drive and a customer lounge, so when you bring your car in for service, if that's what you want to do, you're able to have a comfortable place to be. So the summary before I bore you to tears is very simple. The new Genesis brand model is working. We launched this on November 21st of 2016. It's a custom business model that we made just for Canada. No other Genesis market is operating this way yet, although Australia and China are likely going to model their operations off of ours. And we have proof that it's working. The G70 has been a great success for us. It's leading the next phase of our growth, but we know that SUVs are really what we need to take that next step. And I'll talk a bit about that after Jared walks you through the event here. And yeah, as I say, this is just the beginning. We have a slew of new models coming, including 2 SUVs, the first of which we will see this year. It's been one of those things where I've been saying, yeah, SUVs are just around the corner. I feel like a broken record. I've been saying it for so long. The global debut of our first SUV will take place in this calendar year, and we will see it on Canadian roads midway through next year. So really, we're about to turn a major corner for the brand. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to my new colleague, Jared, and he is going to talk to you about the airport and why the heck we're here.
I'm going to use the mic. I'm not as loud as Patrick. Sorry, Patrick. So yes, I'm Jared. Nice to meet all of you. Some of you I've met before. I have been on Patrick's team for quite some time, just not in this type of role. But my job today is really to give you some context as to why we're sitting in the airport's maintenance facility right now, and then taking you out to drive cars on a runway, which seems unnecessarily complicated for just driving cars on an autocross. So there's a few reasons for that. But before we get into that, Patrick talked to you about the brand and our business model. And so for those of you who may not remember or maybe haven't seen this, I want to revisit the essence of what our brand is. And so we have this tagline that we use in all of our marketing communications, which is test drive, purchase, maintenance, we come to you. And so this means a few things. First of all, literally, we come to you. As Patrick explained, through our omni-channel business model, we come to you for all of your needs. So if you'd like to test drive a vehicle, you can book a test drive online, or let's say here at the airport terminal, and then we come to you with the vehicle for a test drive. Same thing for purchase. We will come to you. You can purchase the vehicle at your convenience through our online sales platform. Or, if you'd like, we can come to you to your residence or place of business. And finally, for maintenance, of course, included with all of our vehicles, standard, is our 5-year, 100,000 kilometer maintenance plan, wherein we come to you to your residence or place of business to pick up your vehicle for service, and all of the regularly scheduled maintenance is complimentary for those first 5 years. But we come to you means more than just literally we come to you. It means that we tailor the experience to our customers, to the people who we want to bring into the Genesis fold. And for that reason, we also come to you at Toronto Pearson International Airport. And a lot of people ask me, why Toronto Pearson? I mean, you guys are a big car company. You could partner with any number of organizations. Well, there's a few reasons for this. First of all, Toronto Pearson is a huge airport. Last year they hit almost 50 million passenger movements, which obviously makes Toronto Pearson Canada's #1 air travel hub, but also the second busiest airport in North America by international traffic. So that's a lot of eyeballs for Genesis. But specifically, with our We Come To You message, with the message of we bring you a higher standard of service and a level of convenience that's unparalleled in the industry, we want to target these time-strapped business travelers. So I know a number of you travel frequently domestically within Canada, and you've been on the domestic pier in Terminal 1. Well, you've probably seen a great deal of Genesis branding and activations happening out there. So what I'd like to recap quickly for you, if you haven't seen it, is what we call the passenger journey, which is Genesis at every touch point for these busy, time-strapped business travelers who are going through the domestic travel journey in Terminal 1 at Pearson Airport. So step one in your passenger journey typically is getting to the airport, right? So for example, you drive to the airport. A lot of the business travelers in Toronto who live downtown take the Up Express, which is a great way to get to the airport. And so I don't know if you saw it coming in today. I don't know what your drive was like, but we have some berm signage on the side of the 401. You see Genesis is present there with some of the other major airport partners. Also on approach to Terminal 3, there's a big billboard out there right now. And then step two is when you get to the airport, and a lot of people here, business travelers are valeting their vehicles, some are doing self-parking, again, Up Express. So we have what we like to call a parking area domination. So all of the little valet tickets that the valet passengers are getting actually come in a Genesis branded sleeve. And the valet area, the valet care area as it's called, where you go to pick up your vehicle and to pay for the valet service, is actually now sponsored by Genesis and is a Genesis look and feel. As well, when you leave the parking garage, in both terminals 1 and 3, now all of the parking receipts have some Genesis messaging on them to tie that whole journey together. And finally, if you're coming through the parking garage in Terminal 1, on the main level you'll see this really immersive 3D projection mapping display. And if you haven't seen it, I would encourage you the next time you're in the terminal to go and check it out. Step 3 is pre-security. So you've now parked your vehicle, you've made it into the terminal, and now you're getting ready to go through security to get on your flight. So we have, actually it's not there anymore because it's currently being refreshed into a brand new digital LED video board. But we have this giant grand hall banner, as we call it. It's right in the check-in area in Terminal 1. And then we also have some rich video content explaining our brand promise in an area where there's sometimes a little bit more dwell time as people are standing in line waiting to go through security. And then the fourth step of your passenger journey is once you actually get post-security. And there we have a lot more traditional out-of-home advertising and also a static vehicle display. And then the last step before you get on the flight is pre-boarding. And I know some of you with status probably go and spend some time in the lounge, but actually what I would encourage you to do the next time you're traveling through the airport is not just be a bit of a hermit and stick in the lounge, but go check out what some of the retailers are doing, some of the food and beverage options on the pier, because the airport is really going through a transformation in the sense that there's some really great options right now. And one of those great options is the Genesis Brand Experience Center that's right across from Gate D20. And this isn't a coincidence. Gate D20 is not only Canada's busiest gate in terms of passenger traffic, but that's also where most of the business travelers are going through, as most of the flights departing from that gate are going to destinations like Montreal. And the Brand Experience Center is not just a parked car that we've just beached in the terminal and left to its own devices. And so this next slide, I'm gonna play a little game with you called Who Did It Best. There was an infinity display that used to be in the terminal. And here's our Genesis inline retail space. And so what's the difference between having a normal car display and doing an immersive experience center? Well, okay, do we have a vehicle display at the gate? Yeah, they're both there. Are they open during the normal airport retail hours, which are 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., 365 days a year? For the infinity display, I gave it a shrug emoji, just because, I mean, yeah, I guess it's never closed. And yeah, we're open during normal business hours. But here's where it really starts to get interesting. We have a brand experience center. And what does that mean? Well, we fully staff it with brand and product specialists. So during the normal business hours of the terminal, there's someone there who is a specialist on Genesis, who's there to answer any of your product questions and tell you, inform you about some of the unique aspects of the Genesis brand. You can't do that with a normal vehicle display. We also offer product demonstrations. The car is always fully unlocked and powered so that people can play around with it. We conduct lead capture. In fact, we've captured since opening thousands and thousands of people who've raised their hands and said, yeah, I do want to learn more about Genesis. And a lot of those same customers will be attending this event today, so we're closing the loop on that passenger journey. And then finally, you can't book a test drive when there's just a car sitting there in the terminal area, but when you have staff there, we are booking people into test drives. And it's happened, a significant portion of the leads that we get coming through our brand experience center are actually not from the Toronto area. A lot of people are from Western Canada, and so they are traveling through Toronto for business. They sign up for a test drive, and then when they land in Vancouver, they then meet up with their local Genesis experience manager in Richmond, BC, or in Burnaby, and then they go on a test drive there. And so this brings us to the runway event. And I think at this point, it's pretty clear what it is, but just to do some simple math, we have a partnership with Toronto Pearson International Airport. So we're taking cars, we're putting them on a runway, and you get a runway event. So what are we going to be doing with these customers today? Well, they're going to be driving a G70 on the runway with a driving instructor. So they're not necessarily as experienced as you are, driving cars on autocross, so very small handling course for them. But then we're going to put them with one of our pro drivers in the passenger seat, and they'll go on a speed test and a thrill ride so that they can really feel the lateral G's and they can really feel what the car's capabilities are when they're driving with a very competent driver. We also have some G70 and G80 road drives. You may have seen the cars parked out in front of the building, and that's for some of the prospects we've invited. People who haven't bought cars yet, but who are really, really close. We want to give them another opportunity to go out and test drive a car. And then finally, we've selected about 60 people who are going to have a very unique opportunity to go out and have a behind-the-scenes airport tour. Who's coming? 100 Genesis owners, 100 prospects, a lot of them who've come through the terminal. 20 of our retailers are also going to be here today for this experience, and of course, some select auto media, and as Patrick referred to you before, guinea pigs for our first ever runway event.
Welcome, I'm Mark Wilkins, and we're here with Genesis Canada today in the G70. We're at Pearson International Airport doing something really, really unique. In fact, I don't think anyone has been able to do an event on a runway at Pearson before, but we're going to do an autocross, we're going to do a 0160, and we're going to do a little bit smaller, tighter handling course to really just see how great these Genesis G70s are. This is the start of the autocross, the high-speed autocross section. So we'll be coming down into these cones here. We'll be able to get up to some fairly high speeds, and then we're going to flow the speed in to this S-bend, but we'll enter there around 140 to 150 kilometers an hour. And then we obviously need to get the car slowed up here for this mid-speed S complex that tightens up a little bit, and it comes a bit quick here, so quick hands really important, really feel the handling characteristics, and then we would accelerate out of here, pick up a bit of pace before it tightens up again, and we go into sort of a long left-hand sweeper, if you will, right sort of at the active runway, which is almost at the active runway, which is pretty neat. All the way around here. We can accelerate out. We have just a little bit of an S, although it's fairly straight. And then we'll go right to left here through our slalom. And then down, we can accelerate a little bit to here, and then once we get down to the security vehicle, we'll get slowed up. Back to the left. This sort of concludes our high-speed autocross section. Kind of right up to the yellow line, we'll do a stop, and then you'll do a flat-out run as fast as you can get going, maybe about 150 or so. All the way to the cones here, and then we'll just gently bring that speed down. nice and slow, and we'll start to bring the car over. And then in this case, we're just doing the demonstration. So we'll just show you now the tighter handling course. Have you spent much time in the G70?
I have. I spent a week with one last year and was just shocked how good it was. There are a lot of cars that take quite a bit of time for them to start shining through.
Right.
I literally picked it up, went down to the first traffic light, and I was like, this is going to be a good week.
Well, I had a chance to put a few miles on one of these for this event, actually, just to kind of break it in a little bit. And I was blown away. The motor is spectacular. Just the ride quality, the feel, the fit and finish, even, you know, some of the amenities, the nav, the stereo, it's just awesome.
You know, it's a home run from the very get-go.
Right from the get-go, yeah. So this is obviously a much tighter course. We have a little quick flick here, but this is obviously kind of the opposite of what we were doing at the other end of the runway, but more of a bit of an agility test. Is the end of that sector, and then we'll end up driving back down to they call the pen here, where we'll all sort of congregate for the different sections. So that's basically it for my drive component. We'll have you behind the wheel, and I'll be with you. And then if you wanted to get some shots or whatnot after the first few runs without me, you're welcome to do that as well. So I'll just be there as a bit of a guiding hand to start, especially with the high-speed autocross. I'll be actually in the autocross high-speed section for the whole morning here with you. But we'll let you get a good read on the car and have some fun. That's the whole idea.
The Genesis G70 V6 twin turbo, 365 horsepower.
365 horsepower.
All right, and now let's see how that feels
on the runway.
On the runway
at Pearson.
At Pearson Airport with planes taking off.
Planes taking off.
Should we go?
Go ahead. Oh, let's. We'll just gap him and then we'll go. And the sun came out?
Sun came out. It was raining in the morning. I was like, oh no. And are we in sport mode?
Just click to the right there on the drive mode, and you'll be in sport.
Nice.
Okay, I think you're good to go. Tightens up here by the first little left. Through here, left, you got it. Oops, that's right, you got it.
It's fantastic. The Genesis even got the noise just right. It sounds meaty. There's so many cars that just don't sound great. They don't encourage you to put your foot down. This one does.
Slow up here. Got it. Bring the speed down in here. Awesome. And we can do that again. Want to do a few more runs through there? Awesome. Yep, so you should be able to get to about 170-ish.
170? All right.
Give it your best shot.
Tell me when to brake.
nice and progressively here. And it's so fitting to just blast down a runway. You just want to keep going.
Exactly.
Okay, we're on the runway at Pearson Airport and it's time to do a speed run. Sport mode, 50, 100, 150, 171. The G70 is quite quick.
Whew. So now that was exciting. Getting to drive a car on a airport runway, an active airport runway, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah, it's not something you get to do on a regular basis, and in fact this was the first time I've ever driven on a runway, and the surface is just smooth and it's fantastic for going quickly. The fastest I got up to today was about 180, and trust me, yeah, that's quick enough. And then you have to get hard on the anchors. The Genesis G70, I was really impressed by it when I first drove it last year, when I had it for a week-long test. Driving it today reaffirms that this is easily one of the nicest sports sedans you can currently buy. It handles well, it sounds good, it performs, it just does everything for you. So yeah, if you're in the market for a sports sedan that won't break the bank, like these things are in the $50,000 to $60,000 price range, this is a very, very good, competent vehicle. Don't be put off by, oh, it's a Korean brand. The people behind this brand, they come from BMW and Audi. In fact, the lead designer for Genesis right now is Luke Donkervoog, who designed the Lamborghini Murcielago and Lamborghini Gallardo. Plus he's done the Bentley Continental GT and Bentley Bentayga. The guy knows what he's doing, and he's going to inject a lot more exotic style into this brand. So this is the one to watch out for.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to Automotive Affairs and click the notification bell.